The Godfather, not only is it a cinematic masterpiece, but probably the greatest film trilogy ever made. One of the main reasons that till his day, we are all astonished and continuously going back and revisiting these films, is its many lessons. The Godfather is not just a crime or mafia film, rather it deals with the themes of capitalism, greed, family, betrayal and so much more. No matter who you are, it's full of many lessons that will benefit you in your own life. You will learn about the secrets to power, leadership and overall success. Whether you are an investor, run a small business, or even a multi-billion-dollar business corporation, you are guaranteed to benefit and learn something, anyone in a competitive environment. But even more broadly, it shows us the darker aspect of human nature. In this video, we trimmed them down to the top 10 most important lessons we can take away from these extraordinary films.
But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again. Ever.
When Fredo was defending Mo Green and siding against Michael, he was undermining Michael's authority and showing him a huge amount of disrespect, which would have grave consequences for everyone involved. This incident was later exploited by Hyman Roth, where he learned of Fredo's history of undermining Michael's authority, and would use Fredo to harm Michael, as he saw someone extremely weak within Michael's organization. If you are in a position of power or leadership, it's essential to ensure that those you are leading or those under you all have a great deal of respect and don't show outsiders that your leadership is in question. This is primarily when dealing with outsiders, you need to display a united front and show no signs of doubt in your leadership. You can't afford to show anyone undermining your leadership, as this could make you look weak and will later be exploited. However, privately within your organization or team, you should allow people to discuss the course of action you have decided and answer all the questions they may have, or ease any fears or doubt they have. You can't be someone disconnected from those who you lead as doing that has its set of issues.
Be my friend, Godfather.
One of the Don's biggest strengths was his ability to have people indebted to him, and forging alliances with people that can both protect and benefit him in the long run. He had built a network of people who actually owed him a favor, therefore he had connections to individuals from all walks of life. From everyone from the local store owners to some of the most powerful people in the country. It was why the commission members needed veto in order to proceed with the new venture. It's why Virgil Sollozzo came to the Don for permission. But something somewhat admirable that Vito does, and is what we all should understand, is that Vito was a man of his word and made sure that any alliance or friendship he established he would indeed follow through on what he had promised. He made sure that any deal he made had some mutual interest. Meaning, Vito would happily help out anyone in need prior to any payment or favors given first. Also, he never used violence as the initial tool similar to the other Dons of his time. Rather, he would very reasonably present an offer that would be of interest of both parties. For us, building connections and networking is essential, especially in the world of business. Therefore, what we could learn from Don Vito is that instead of constantly trying to extract some sort of benefit or just using people for some sort of gain, flip this idea around and think of how you can provide some sort of benefit to the person without necessarily expecting something instantly in return.
Try to think as people around you think.
The Corleone Dons were truly masters of this. Both not only went to great lengths to understand their enemies, but they also analyzed those around them, whether it was their consigliere or capo regimes. They tried to predict their reactions and moves in different situations. Therefore, they used this information to predict and avoid any unnecessary losses or a potential crises. In a competitive environment, it's extremely beneficial to look at things from other people's perspective, both opponents and teammates. Think how they will react, so you can use the best method or take the best course of action.
Never hate your enemies. It affects your judgment.
This principle is very important in a competitive environment. We all need to remember not to be so sensitive and always think everything is a personal attack. Rather, we need to remember that in a competitive environment, everyone has the same goal, and that is to win. People go to extreme lengths to ensure they achieve their goals, even if it means not playing by the rules or using other sly methods. Just remember, don't use your emotions, and only act based upon your own principles and morals. Yes, sometimes it's not very clean or honorable, but remember that it's not always about you personally, rather people playing the game.
Tell Mike it was only business. I always liked him.
For most of us, hopefully we don't have to deal the kinds of enemies that Don Vito or Michael had to deal with. However, we all have some individuals in our lives that don't necessarily want us to succeed. Anyone from a business competitor to a boss or even some coworkers, whoever it is, never let your emotions or hatred for someone influence your decisions, as this will cause you to take actions that you will later regret, as it would give you the satisfaction of indulging in the idea that you had acted based on these emotions. However, doing this almost never ends well. But this is not say you have to like them. On the contrary, the idea is to leave emotions out of it, and think rationally and logically make your decisions, without looking to achieve some sort of petty satisfaction.
It's not personal, sir. It's strictly business. You're out, Tom.
Why am I out?
You're not a wartime consigliere, Tom.
If you're building a team, you need to know the strengths and weaknesses of each individual. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and as a leader you need to understand your team's capabilities, and when it is most beneficial to deploy their skills. Don Vito knew who and how to use people in different situations. He knew to send Tom Hagen for certain formal negotiations, and knew when to use Luca Brasi. He placed capable people such as Tessio and Clemenza in key positions, however made sure that any major tactical decisions would come through him, as he was far more capable than them. He also ensured that he allowed collaboration within his organization, where all his subordinates were assisting each other and utilizing each other's different skills and areas of expertise to achieve their goals. For example, he would send Tom Hagen to try to negotiate politely, but if those negotiations failed, he would send in the brutal enforcer Luca Brasi. We also see Michael removing Tom Hagen as consigliere when he takes over. Like we mentioned earlier, Michael did not use his emotions, rather he knew in order for the plan he and the Don wanted to enact, Tom would need to be removed, as he wasn't a wartime consigliere. Therefore, when building a team, make sure you understand what you need and what the goal is, so that when it's time for you to form a team, you are able to select those who possess the skills and talents needed to achieve this objective, and then ensure that they are truly capable of working efficiently together. It's also just as important to know when to remove a team member or employee, as it could hinder and hold back reaching the organization's full potential. But it's also important to surround yourself with the right people in the sense of having people who have some sort of positive impact on you and help you strive to accomplish whatever it is you're aiming for. Although it might sound cliché, it's undoubtedly true.
Do I have your loyalty?
Yes, always, Godfather.
Never let anyone know what you're thinking.
Michael was truly a master of this, and even as the audience we are often left wondering what exactly Michael was thinking, until he reveals his intentions through his actions. Sonny unfortunately never learned his lesson, and it led to his downfall. He constantly exposed his true intentions, and was never able to conceal his intentions or thoughts, rather he constantly just shouted them out. Just imagine if Michael had started shouting at Barzini during the funeral, making it known that he had been planning something that would wipe him off of the face of the earth. Michael would have destroyed any chance of actually following through on his plan. This really is an important principle that it seems is rarely used in the real world, especially today. These days it seems almost everyone is constantly announcing their plans and intentions, whatever they may be. While in most cases there really isn't anything wrong with it, and should sometimes be encouraged and even celebrated. But in the right context. In certain scenarios, people don't recognize that some things shouldn't be instantly shouted out. Primarily if you are in a competitive environment, where such information is of high value. If you are a coach, you need to ensure your tactics are as hidden as possible so that when the time comes you can deploy them effectively. However, if it's obvious or you are carelessly talking about it, then you lose something essential, the element of surprise. Even during high-level or intense negotiations, if the other party know exactly what your intentions or goals are, they could leverage them in a way that could manipulate you indirectly into folding and succumbing to their will, giving them what they wanted. Whereas, if you conceal your goals or what you're thinking, you have the upper hand as it levels the playing field and puts you in a better position. Perhaps the most critical time to use this principle is if you're a business in the process of purchasing another business or in the process of developing a new technology for anything of the sort. Whether it's a small business or a multi-billion-dollar corporate conglomerate, you need to ensure that any projects you have or working on are completely secure and only revealed at the appropriate time. As if you announce it too early, your competitors will most definitely either steal that opportunity from you or ensure they do everything possible to obstruct and hurdle your chance of acquiring or reaching your intended goal.
I spend my life trying not to be careless. Women and children can be careless, but not men.
When the Don is educating Michael and preparing him to become Don, he emphasizes the significance of not being careless. With Vito's long experience, he had truly seen it all. He had witnessed great and powerful men crumble due to the smallest of mistakes. And it's absolutely true, sometimes the smallest things lead to the downfall of even the most intelligent and powerful individuals. Although it seems obvious, but we all sometimes are guilty of this. Especially in things that at the time we deem as unimportant or inconsequential, however, those very things that end up leading to the huge problems. We see this in so many real-life and historical examples, where something that initially seemed insignificant ends up being what leads to a loss or damage. It also could be as a result of not carefully understanding the potential consequences of taking a certain course of action. Vito truly did live up to his words, at least for the most part. We watched him make sure he was calculating every move and analyzing the intentions of people before even meeting them. Even before he was the Don, he had been analyzing Don Fanucci before assassinating him. And what's interesting, the thing that almost led him to ruin was the one instant he was careless. It's true, due to his old age he was bound to make a mistake, by not to ensure his security was still maintained. Yes, he can't see the future, however, unfortunately, due to his carelessness, almost destroyed everything he had built.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Let's understand how Vito was truly able to make offers they can't refuse. Firstly, he understood the person. He gathers all the necessary information he needs to know who they are, what they want, and what they hold most dear, to then make them an offer that he knows they are extremely willing to accept or have no choice but to accept, as the repercussion from refusing are too dire. Vito, being a criminal mafia boss, he does use violence to his advantage, as that's another major factor. People rather accept his offer from the first time. Secondly, the Don made sure it was a mutually beneficial deal to an extent where they aren't doing anything that was detrimental to their own business. Thirdly, and this is what really gave him the upper hand, Don Vito leveraged his reputation as both a ruthless yet reasonable boss to then get what he wants. He had a reputation of being honest in fulfilling his end of a deal and never betraying the trust of anyone who did business with him. At the same time, his ruthless reputation made his offers basically a threat. In real life, during a business or any form of high-level negotiation, it's essential to know what the other side wants and what they hold most valuable, so that you can then leverage this information to your advantage. Whether it's making a deal or acquiring new customers, knowing the other party's intentions and motivations is vital. Always try to stand out from your competition.
I have a sentimental weakness for my children, and I spoil them, as you can see. They talk when they should listen.
When you think about it, when one is truly listening and reading the other person's body language and other subtle clues, you are the one receiving information rather than providing it. Therefore, especially in a negotiation setting, this allows you to have the upper hand in understanding the true intentions of the other person. And what you'll often notice is that people will reveal more than they would have intended if given the chance. revealing their true intentions and allowing you to make the best decision or give you a better perspective.
I worked my whole life. I don't apologize to take care of my family. And I refused to be a fool, dancing on the string held by all those big shots.
Vito was born with almost nothing, and then what little he had was taken away from him. So he had to learn and build and reinvent himself. He did not let his circumstances define him or hold him down, especially since it was the easier option. He took the more difficult path. Although immoral, he tried to redeem himself. If you look at the greatest individuals in human history, almost none of them were born with instant greatness. Rather, they took what they had, strived and built a legacy that would be remembered for hundreds if not thousands of years. All had faced some sort of difficulty and circumstances, in which pushed them to get out of those predicaments. They did not stand idle by and complain about their situation. Rather, they educated themselves and worked to establish their legacies and become great.